rise of Hitler was through the power of the ballot. There was no coup d'etat. BJP is following the same path and will probably take the world to the same end. I am Sham. You are watching True North. If you are new to the channel, consider subscribing. Now let's get started. BJP has a very extreme right-wing religious agenda. Purpose of this agenda is to create an akhund bharat in which all the neighbors will either be annexed to the India or will be subservient. It is a right of the BJP as a democratic party to profess a political philosophy, and if people vote for them, they will come and implement. Such extreme right-wing religio-political philosophies have never been good for the peace of the world. However, if the BJP was doing it only politically, the world will still be at ease. The BJP has gone for a very, very dangerous path. BJP has started to penetrate into state institutions and started to appoint party stalwarts, party sympathizers into the key positions. Indian armed forces have usually been claiming that they are apolitical, they are secular, and they are professional. BJP has started to play favorites in armed forces also. Current Indian Army Chief General Bipin Rawat is an example. He was promoted to this post against all norms and conventions of Indian Armed Forces. The only merit his promotion followed was that his political masters liked his thoughts. He was promoted over the head of two of his seniors and was appointed Chief of Army Staff. Now, when you have attained such a giddy heights through the political favoritism, there is time to pay back also. An Indian Army Chief has been paying back to the BJP in no mean terms. How can an Army Chief pay back to the political master? He is promoting the philosophy of BJP at the expense of the taxpayers. We will go to an example of Kashmir. In May 2017, world witnessed a horrible picture which is right in front of you. This is a Kashmiri boy tied to the bonnet of a jeep. He was an ordinary protester. Major Gogoi got hold of him, tied him to the bonnet of the jeep and used him as human shield against the protesters. The picture went viral. World media started accusing India of violating human rights, but it did not really matter to the BJP government and to their appointee Chief of Army Staff. Instead of taking the officer to the task and punishing him for violating international treaty, you will be surprised the officer was given Chief of Army Staff's commendation card. The officer was awarded instead of being reprimanded. This is how a Chief of Army Staff is promoting the agenda of a political party. Now the story doesn't end here. Current Indian Army Chief has been making comments which are not the remit of a Chief of Army Staff. Few of his comments have enraged the intelligentsia of India also, and they have started to raise their voices. Mani Shankar is a famous Indian politician who has been member of the parliament and of the upper house, and he has been minister in the Congress. In his recent article, which was published in Indian newspaper, he has advised the journal not to step into the political era. Most of his remarks were considered intemperate by the Indian intelligentsia, politicians, and the newspaper. Mani Shankar just put them together and asked the journal, is this the way a sitting army chief behaves? I will just mention few of them. The journal had been talking about India's diplomatic stance towards China in the Indian Ocean. He was not happy about finding a political solution to the Kashmir problem. And he said, and I quote, adversaries must be afraid of you, and at the same time, your own people must be afraid of you too. Now, this state of mind speaks the political patronage he is receiving, and this is how a political appointee tries to pay back the debt. What infuriated most of the political parties of the India and a few of the newspaper was his comment about All India United Democratic Front. Incidentally, this All India United Democratic Front is mostly constituted by Muslim-leaning parties. General was reported to have said, it's an alleged and planned influx of people from Bangladesh into the northeastern states as part of a proxy war being waged by Pakistan with support from China. He further elaborated on his point and said, the fast growth of Burhanuddin Ajbal's All India United Democratic Front in Assam as compared to BJP is surprising. Times of India, which is a respected newspaper in India, had to finally write an editorial asking General to refrain from giving political comments. Because the political parties of the All India United Democratic Front they had a right to ask that why is an army chief worried about the growth of a political party, and he's comparing it to the growth of BJP. BJP is not the yardstick of growth of any political philosophy. But this is how the army chief has been coming to the rescue of the government. He has been passing political comments. The stance of the Indian Army of being an apolitical force now has been thrown out of the window. With such political leaning, the general is likely to promote his like-minded, which is very natural. When the like-mindeds are promoted, they will further promote the political philosophy of the BJP. With this strategy, BJP will be able to take the control of minds of the nuclear armed forces of India. This is how the BJP's political philosophy will reach into the ranks and files of the Indian Army. And we have a point to remember, this is not an ordinary army. This is a nuclearly armed army. And if this army has a political right-wing extremist leaning, the world can be ready for any havoc. Now the point is that this episode does not stop with what the army chief has been doing. The Air Chief Marshal also took a lead from what the army chief has been doing, and during a press conference where Minister for Defense, Secretary for Defense and the Air Chief was sitting, and the subject was an aircraft deal. When media questioned the price of the aircraft and the overall volume of the deal, the minister fumbled and couldn't answer. The Indian Air Chief jumped and took over the controls and started explaining to the media that this deal is better. The point was still valid had he not compared current government of BJP with the former government of the Congress. His remarks were, we have got a better deal under BJP government than the Congress government. These remarks show the preference of a political party by a professional soldier. That is not how the professional armies work, talk and behave. With political appointees at the helm of affairs and armed forces, world must not expect a peaceful India. When you throw the merit and professionalism out of the window and promote people, those who give assurances of promoting a right-wing extremist agenda. The world is already witnessing it in the atrocities in Kashmir, and if not stopped timely, it can create instability in the region.